Now this, a newly discovered orangutan species, is being driven to extinction by a British firm's Indonesian gold mine, according to a wildlife charity. The orangutan, the rarest great ape in the world, was discovered by scientists in 2017. The Tapanuli orangutan, I should say. It lives only in the particular forest in northern Sumatra, and there are just 800 of the primates left. However, the habitat is on top of a rich gold seam currently being mined by Jardine Matheson. The mine was bought by the firm in 2018. However, analysis has found that it has since been further expanded into the habitat of the orangutan. Let's speak to Glenn Hurowitz, who's the CEO of Mighty Earth, the global campaign organization that works to protect the environment. Glenn, good afternoon to you, sir. Thanks for being with us. I know it's early where you are, so we appreciate that even more, sir. So just explain a little more about the region and about this particular species of orangutan first, if you would.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. I mean, there's extensive rainforest as far as the eye can see. I've been there myself, and it's really quite amazing that in 2017, the world could discover a new species of great ape. I mean, these are large, orange, furry animals, and it was really exciting. And yet it was mixed with peril because these animals faced threat from a proposed dam, which we seem to have derailed, but also this gold mine that is owned by the Jardines Matheson conglomerate.
Yeah. This is a British company, we understand.
Yeah, it's an enormous British company, although not many people have heard of it. They are best known for owning the Mandarin Oriental hotel chain, but they also own the second largest palm oil company in Indonesia. Wow. They have lots of supermarket and real estate interests throughout Asia. They were notorious back 150 years ago for their opium trading and contributing to the start of the Opium War with China. I think they've moved beyond the drug dealing, but unfortunately, while we keep finding them undermining strong environmental protection.
In essence, Glenn, where they are currently mining for gold is right in the habitat of the forest in northern Sumatra, where this new species of orangutan has been found.
Exactly. I went to visit the gold mine myself less than a year ago. And, it's a huge mining operation at an industrial scale. We've been aware of this threat for a couple of years since this new species was identified. And, we went right to the top of Jardines Matheson. And in the same way that we had asked them to stop deforestation for palm oil, which they mostly have, we said, look, this mine is unnecessarily endangering the species. And they said they would stop any expansion into the Tapanuli orangutan habitat. Unfortunately, this satellite monitoring that we've done has caught them red-handed.
You might think, and who knows what makes humans and individuals tick, Glenn, but you might think that if you approach the head honcho from a large organization and say, look, I understand what you're doing, guys, because there's a lot of gold around here. Who doesn't want to find gold? As kids, we used to dig up sand looking for gold, thinking it might be there. It's a human instinct to want to find gold. However, there's a bit of a problem with your mine. These guys also live here. Enter Exhibit A, an orangutan. They might say, oh, crikey, we didn't realize this. So, we'll stop now. We're off home.
Yeah, you would think. And we tried. And they're a huge company. They're one of the few hundred largest companies in the world. They make loads of profit. So, we don't think they need to do this. The gold mine is profitable without expanding into the Tapanuli orangutan habitat. So sure. It's kind of sad. And, we've had multiple meetings with them, both the folks on the ground as well as the top people. And it's disappointing that they didn't live up to it. I will say, unfortunately, it's been part of a pattern. One of the other things that this company is doing is they're the head of the Indonesia Palm Oil Association, and the palm oil industry still has significant deforestation problems. They are lobbying in the UK to stop the government's effort to ban imports of illegally deforested commodities. And we think that that's, another example of them undermining British conservation efforts.
Yeah. You might just think that we live in a kind of an era now, Glenn, where it would be a kind of what we would call a no-brainer. There'd be no debate here, really. If you're going to mess around with the habitat of an orangutan, get the hell out of there.
Yeah, I mean, and there's only 800 of them. They're the rarest great ape species in the world.
Yeah.
It's really quite egregious and disappointing. And it's not, this is not an example of like small scale farmers and there's a conflict between environment and
a family's livelihood, etc. Yeah. This is different to that. And in the sense of, you say that you went there, the mining operation is huge and fairly overwhelming to see. I mean, if they didn't expand, and I guess by definition of mining, expansion is what you do all the time. But if it just sort of stayed as it was, could the orangutans live with the mine alongside? Is that ever possible?
So part of the mine is not in their habitat, and so they could expand there more. And they have ongoing operations. I mean, gold mining has environmental costs no matter what. But going into the part of their concession that is overlapping with the Tapanuli orangutan habitat is the thing that we're most concerned about. This is a big company, and this area is a global conservation priority for many reasons. It has Sumatran tigers, it has elephants in there. It's a really quite extraordinary place. And so, what we would hope that Jardines Matheson would do, given its profile and given its historic impact on the environment, massive deforestation for palm oil in particular, that they would contribute positively to the conservation of this species. In addition to stopping the mine, we want to create more connectivity for the different Tapanuli orangutan populations so that they can mate with each other and ensure the long-term survival of the species. There's ways that this company operating in this region could work with the government, work with conservation organizations on the ground to help achieve that. And we've said that to them. They've said, actually, this is a good PR opportunity for you, honestly, to show that you're not just wrecking the environment, but making a positive contribution. And we've heard silence on that. And so, and that doesn't necessarily need to have money involved. It's just, having their people on the ground help with the government and other efforts.
And if they carried on mining at the current rate, how long would it be before there was a tangible effect on the habitat of this new species of orangutan?
Well, unfortunately, there's already been a tangible effect. There's 60, it may not sound like a lot, but 67 acres. And the problem is that the orangutans live in an area the size of Sydney, Australia. That's the only place on Earth that they live. And so there's just not much left. Yeah. And then some of these areas are in critical connectivity points where they need to breed with each other to survive over the long term. So, we're really concerned about that. They have the legal ability to expand much further. We'd like the government to step in and revise that. May not surprise you to hear working with the Indonesian government can be challenging at times.
I'm sure.
But it would be a lot easier, frankly, if they came on board and said, we want to conserve this species as well, and mitigate some of the damage they've done. There's a lot of ways that they could invest in restoration and conservation in other areas as well.
And bearing in mind that their CV of you mentioned the opium and the palm oil, and so doubtless their existence has already contributed to a loss of habitat of orangutans elsewhere, Borneo and the like, I'm sure. You might think, well, this will be a final chance for a bit of redemption, maybe.
We think so, and especially they own the Mandarin Oriental Hotel brand, which is world famous. In Indonesia, they have this huge Astra International is this largest car dealership there. These are big, prominent brand name businesses that they own, and it's just like they don't seem to really care. They're doing this very bad thing to undermine some common sense UK action to limit deforestation also. I think they have this sort of old school way of acting in Asia that even many of the Asian companies, frankly, have moved beyond and are trying to be responsible. And so it's almost a caricature of what they once were is informing how they are still acting. And
listen,
they change.
Glenn, we appreciate your time, sir. Let's speak again and see where this story goes. Glenn Hurowitz, who's the CEO of Mighty Earth. That's the global campaign organisation that works to protect the environment. This is referenced the Tapanuli orangutan, the rarest great ape in the world. It was only discovered, this species, in 2017. and it lives only in the northern forests of Sumatra, and there's just about 800 of these things left. But there's a gold mine, an expanding gold mine in the area. This is stuff that films are made of, isn't it? Wouldn't you think that when the Jardine Matheson organisation that owns it was a British company, wasn't even familiar with their work, but he mentioned the Mandarin hotel chain and other things as well. When there must be a board meeting when somebody goes, hey, look, here's a cracking idea. Got this idea for a mine. There's a bit of a problem. The orangutans live there. And if we carry on mining, we will kill the orangutans because there won't be any left because there's only 800. Well, that would be the end of the meeting, wouldn't it? Who in the meeting goes, do you know what? Let's plough on anyway. Someone's dad or mum puts their name to that kind of caper. I don't care where you are on the political spectrum, left, right, somewhere in the middle. Do you know anybody that would go, that's fine, because they want to mine some gold? One of the last, rarest and newest species, and the last remaining species in that area of orangutan will be wiped out if they carried on mining. If the company were here, of course, they'd have a plush, very fluent comms person who would be explaining letter by letter why this is nonsense and everything can happen side by side. I would doubt that very much. 0344 499 1000. We go to your calls next on Talk Radio.